Welcome to Design Diary, the podcast where you get to look inside my board game design notebook as well as what's going on inside my head. We look at a new word each day from the sense of mechanics, tone, theme, or inspiration for a full game. Today's word is
Officinal. I thought it was officinal, but it's officinal. This is 2 days in a row where I cannot pronounce the word, but it's officinal. Which the definition of officinal is tending. Of course, my phone doesn't work. That's what I'm trying to pull it up on my phone. Tending or used to cure disease or relieve pain. Synonym is medicinal. I believe it means a synonym. I think it is. So tending or used to cure disease or relieve pain. Here's an example. The plant turned out to have officinal properties and could be used to make an anti-itch ointment. That's our word of the day. Used to cure disease or relieve pain is the definition. So going into my notebook, I wrote down pain restricts your actions or the reach of those actions. So by the reach, I would mean that your actions have a value associated with them and the amount of that value that you can use could be restricted. And then something, so pain would restrict that, and something officinal brings them back to the baseline. So can raise you back up. Pain would drop you down. Officinal would raise you back up. And something else in the game or whatever, it's going to raise this baseline. So your baseline starts out in one area and it can eventually be raised up. So I wrote, all actions have a value associated with them. The value can drop, and let's say you start at number 2. So every action has a number 2. It can go to 0 for no effect. So I'm taking an action in the game, and it gives me a 2 normally, but it drops down to a 1, and then eventually it drops down to a 0, which means I can't take that action, or if I take it, it does nothing. And let's say it can go up to 5 if you grow your ability base. So just for the purpose of this, we have a range of 0 to 5, starting out at 2. In a specific gaming sense, it could be a worker placement game where each worker has a number associated with it. It could represent their health or the word that I keep going back to, which is stamina. It seems like every game that I'm making recently, there's a stamina level. So let's think of a game where I'm placing workers. Each has, it said it has a number on them or associated with them, or they can be associated with a card that has the number. But that number will fluctuate based off of the conditions that happen to them. I wrote here, when the worker's used, you gain the resource or an effect as many times as their stamina allows. So starting out the game, I put the worker here. It gives me 2 of whatever. If their health drops, it's only going to give me 1. And if it drops down to 0, it's not going to give me any. So what I wrote down here was, now you will get to use, or you will have to use all your workers each round. And some actions will end up reducing your stamina. So sometimes a worker, it might give you something, but it also reduces your stamina. So I play my worker, he's at 2. Play him on the space that gives me paper or, wool or something. And it gives me 2 of them. But if it's super wool, it might only give me 1. It might give me 2 or 1, but it also reduces your stamina by 1. So I have to use the officinal to get it back up. And I don't know how you get the officinal, but the whole concept of officinal in this is a scale where You start at one number and you go up or go down. But sometimes a worker can get down to 0 and cannot be used. Then I also wrote down here, maybe a resting unused worker resets when they're not used. Maybe there's an action where you reset all of them. I've seen a couple games like that. But that's the end of the page. That's all I have here for Officinal. And to step outside of my notebook and think for a second, I have a couple games I've worked on recently that are solo games. Twin Stars is one of them, and Banned Books is another one. And thinking of this, in those games are basically a bunch of meters, a bunch of, just charts of numbers that you're sliding up and sliding down. But like tracks, they're just tracks. But if what you put on that track, or let me rephrase that, if the track were to be a stamina track, which it is in both games, stamina in one Twin Star scenario and stamina in all of Banned Books. But if that track was associated with your worker and showed what their output was, and I don't know if this has been done in another game, and it very well may be that workers put out based off of a number on that worker, which I'm sure has been done because that's not unique, but that number fluctuating based on their use or based on a variety of factors is what sounded interesting to me. Having them constantly going up and down and raising their level so they can stay higher and produce more was interesting to me. Sounds similar to in a similar sense to where you spend actions to get more workers and more workers produce more things. It's the same thing, but in a different sense of just growing the ones that you have and making them more valuable and put out more of an output. So that's Officinal. And that's today's word of the day and today's episode of Design Diary. So thanks for joining us. If you have anything for Officinal, let us know. And enjoy making games. All right, see you around.